I'm pleased to be joined by Colorado defensive coordinator Charles Kelly. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, Coach, you're coming from Alabama, which has got a lot of pomp and circumstance around it for good reason. Have you ever seen this sort of pomp and circumstance around a program that was 1-11 the year before?
Well, I'll tell you what, coming from Alabama, of course, Coach Saban and, what he's done there is just probably second to none. I mean, he's the greatest to ever do it. But to have the opportunity to come to Colorado with Coach Prime and to really be able to change the culture and bring Colorado football back to the tradition that, I remember back in the 90s. And, all the good teams and all the good coaches that they had at that time. So I think people are excited. I think there's no doubt that Coach Prime has brought that excitement back. I think you got to give a lot of credit to our administration, our athletic director, Rick George. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job of giving Coach the resources that he needs to be able to, do the things that it takes to be competitive and win in college football. And then, and our fans are absolutely incredible. I mean, you saw the turnout at our spring game, and then the turnout of the season ticket sales. And that just tells you that our fan base is hungry and they want to be successful, and that's what we were hired to do, and that's what our intentions are.
I'm curious, Coach, having Travis Hunter on your side of the field and on the other side of the field, have you ever had a player that could go both ways like him?
Travis is a unique football player. I first started watching Travis when he was a freshman in high school. In fact, I saw him playing a spring game going into his sophomore year, and you could just see the ability that he had, first of all, because of his length and size, but he has incredible ball skills, and he's so instinctive. I think Coach Prime has said this a number of times. In order to play both ways, you have to master one position first before you can't get spread out between two. So he focused last year. He played some, as a receiver and made a lot of plays. But this past spring, he actually worked at receiver on the little things that it took to, to kind of separate himself. One of the guys that we had when I was at Alabama, Devontae Smith, we worked him at corner. He was probably one of our, better corners covering guys. A lot of people didn't know that. Now, we didn't have to use him as much because we had, some other good players. But, to have a guy that can do that on both sides of the ball, that is very unique in college football.
It's high praise. Devontae Smith winning a Heisman Trophy. That team, that 2020 team, is one of the best that I've ever seen. And to get it done the way y'all did in a plague year, I don't think we're ever going to see anything like that. That's tremendously high praise, Coach. Another player I'm very excited about, but also I can't wrap my mind around this. So I'm curious, you being a defensive back coach and a defense coordinator, why do you think so many people don't think that Shedeur Sanders can sling it?
Well, from my point of view, I mean, there's a few things that you look at when you watch a quarterback. First of all right, Shedeur has incredible arm talent. Mm-hmm. He's got incredible hand talent. When I say hand talent, I mean, that makes you be accurate. I don't care what level of football that you're playing. When you're accurate, you're accurate. And if you just look at his numbers over the last 2 years, all right, doesn't matter. I mean, he shows that he can be one of the top quarterbacks and is one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Now, the other thing that I think, and a lot of times, and I hear Coach Prime talk about this, the most important attribute that a quarterback can have is decision making. And he makes good decisions with the football. He's a smart young man. He's very instinctive. He understands schemes. He and I talk a lot of times coming off the field, about, hey, Coach, y'all did this coverage today. The alignment was here. I could tell, you were doing that. So he studies the game. And, I'm glad he's our quarterback.
Well, Coach, it sounds like you and I are pulling from the same well, because I tell folks often there are 3 quarterbacks across this FBS and FCS that threw for 3,500, had 40 TDs, and 6 or fewer INTs. One of them is Caleb Williams. One of them is C.J. Stroud. The other one is your starting quarterback. We're pulling on the same thing there, but he's also a winner. 70-8, I think, all time as a starting quarterback in the league. I'm telling you things that you get to see with your own eyes, but I'm most curious, now that you are here and you give this level of gravitas to what Colorado is doing, being a National Recruiter of the Year, being on national championship teams at Florida State and Alabama, how close is Colorado to playing for championships?
Well, the thing that we have to do on an everyday basis to be successful, we first of all have to evaluate everything that we do. So Coach Prime makes sure in every situation of our football team, we're evaluating what we have every day. All right, the next thing you have to do, you have to recruit. You have to recruit, and you have to get people in here that can live up to the standard and the vision that Coach Prime has set. Coach is so talented in so many ways, but one of the gifts that he has is he has a crystal clear vision of what he wants a team to look like, and he has an innate ability to make everybody in that organization see that vision. So we have to recruit people that can, match his vision, and then we have to develop. It's not one thing that just to have the players there, you have to develop them. You have to develop them on and off the field and help them be able to create value for themselves. When you accumulate, a lot of people going in the same direction, right, now you can create a championship team, and that's what we came to Colorado to do. As you all know, it's been well documented. There's been a lot of turnover on the roster. Listen, the rules are what they are in college football. And Coach Prime made it very clear when he came in what our job was, what we had to do. I think he attacked roster management probably in one of the better ways that I've ever seen. That's what it takes. We have to have good players, and we have to develop them. And when we do that and we're pulling in the same direction, then we've got a chance to win championships.
It's right, Coach, in that, he came into the sport when it was undergoing change. He came into the sport when transfer portal was a thing, and he didn't need to learn to adapt to these things. These were things that already were in place when he became a head coach. All he's done is win since then. However, I think it's kind of underscored there that Coach he's an old school type of dude, right? You can't just get anything by him. Somehow he's got this new age patina that people want to give him. But I want to ask it this way, Coach. You're familiar with come to Jesus meeting. When did you understand that, hey, they're going to move differently here in Colorado in one of these come to Jesus type of moments?
Well, there've been a couple of times. I think when you know Coach Prime on a personal level, and you know what makes him tick. I tell people all the time, his standard of what he expects is as high as anybody that I've ever been around. And he lives it. He's a disciplined person himself. He worked, he was the greatest player to play in his sport at his position. And it wasn't just because of talent, it was because of preparation. And he's prepared his whole life. He does the same thing in coaching, so he has expectations, and our job, I tell people a lot of times, he is an architect. He designs it. Our job as assistant coaches is to make it look like he wants it to look. He knows what championship teams look like. He knows what it's supposed to be, and that's our job, is to help him do that.
Coach, I'm fired up to see what Colorado can do in 2023 and beyond, especially as a man who's been following, Coach Prime since he became offensive coordinator down at Trinity High School. So I go back just a little bit watching him. Very excited to see what your defense looks like in 2023 as well. Colorado defense coordinator Charles Kelly, thank you so much for taking time to join us here on the #1 college football show.
Thank you.
I'm pleased to be joined by Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
I'm good. One of the reasons that I want to talk with you is, frankly, this is not your bag, right? You are a football first person. You want to do everything you can to help your football team win. How do you remain so focused on playing quarterback at a high level at the expense of all else?
Just keeping the main thing the main thing. This is just like I love the game of football. It's something that, you know, provide for my pops and just for my family. So it's like you put everything into something and, you know, the results you're going to get.
It's paying dividends. Like I mentioned this to folks, but there were 3 quarterbacks across the FBS and the FCS who passed for 3,500 yards, had 40 TDs, and 6 or fewer interceptions. One of them is Caleb Williams, one of them was CJ Stroud, and one of them is you. So why do you think people are so interested in doubting your ability at this level?
I don't know. That's for them to figure out, you know. The stats speak for themselves. And all I could do is just take it game by game, week by week, day by day, rep by rep. So it's like I can't I can't control what everybody else's narrative and everything. Does it seem fair? No. But at the end of the day, I'm not really too concerned about it.
What I'm most curious about is the dynamic you have with your pops, because y'all feel like two polars, right? But you balance each other so well. Him being a little bit more warm, you being a little bit more cool. Has it always been that way?
What you mean by him like warm and I'm cool? Like it just depends on what you mean.
Well, so
it just depends.
Coach Prime is not shy in front of a camera. He knows exactly what he's going to do. You feel like I can do this, but I don't need to do this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's like 50 something, you know, so it's like he got everything. He got experience, he got everything. It's just me. I just know the most important thing is playing. And I know, you know, this is a part of everything. But the most important thing is just getting back on my team and just locking in and, you know, just working out the kinks and stuff like that. So that's where my focus is at all times. His is too, but, you know, he's more experienced in the field. He's been doing it for about 40 years.
Well, that's also a very good point you raised there. Him having already played, him having already got his accolades, and him really trying to put y'all in a position to get yours. However, I've been covering this sport for half my life now, and I have never seen so many people interested in a program that frankly was 1-11 last year, but that's before you arrived. That's before Coach Prime arrives. How do you adjust to knowing that there's all of this noise and attention being paid to the program?
I mean, that's how it was at Jackson. You know, it wasn't. It was the same thing. A lot of people want to see you fail. So it's just like, we don't really pay that no mind. We already been through it before. So all we do is just focus on the controllables that we can control, and then that's it. But it's normal. It's just a new year. That's all it is.
Can you describe for me your relationship with Travis Hunter as a wide receiver?
Travis, he's right there. He's weird, but nah, Travis cool though. I feel like we think in sync. I think his IQ is on a different level to where we're able to think the same thing at the same time in the same moment. Like those one-off situations that the defense presents you that's gonna show you an odd coverage we ain't go over. Then we both think the same thing. So I feel like mentally we're both there to where we're in sync.
Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 College Football Show.
Most definitely appreciate it.
I'm pleased to be joined by Colorado athlete Travis Hunter. I say athlete Travis because, well, you go both ways, dude, and you defy description. How has that transition been for you at the collegiate level?
It's been the same, man. I just go out there and put in the work like I'm supposed to so I can be able to play both sides of the ball.
Most coaches feel some kind of way about allowing a player to go both ways, splitting their attention, as it were. What do you think Coach Prime trusts most about you in being able to do both?
I feel like he trusts that I'm going to go in and get the work and know what I have to do, so when it's time to play and time to shine, he know I'm going to be ready to do what I need to do.
Your commitment is historic in that you were the first 5-star, let alone #1 overall recruit to commit to a program at the time in Jackson State that was in the FCS. Did you realize what you were doing when you did it?
Not as soon as I thought of the idea, but as it was going planned, yes, I did realize what I was doing. I had a lot of people come around me and tell me that I'm doing a great thing.
And in so doing, do you feel any pressure to perform?
Nah, I don't feel no pressure to perform. That's what I'm here to do, man. That's what I like to do.
So we're heading into this Pac-12 season, and you got some names on the schedule, but I'm more curious about how you are adapting to playing wide receiver at Folsom as opposed to playing Jackson State. I understand Shedeur has been your quarterback the whole time, but is there anything different about how y'all going about your business?
Yeah, we're a fast tempo team, so yeah, we different now. I mean, our altitude getting us more tired, so we got to put in the extra work to get what we need to get for the season.
Yeah, offense coordinator Sean Lewis has described that offense as riding a bicycle downhill. You got to be able to solve problems as they're happening in front of you. I'm curious, how does it operate on the defensive side with Coach Kelly being your defensive play caller?
I mean, he put in a lot of work and a lot of plays for us to understand we can get anything out of any coverage. I mean, out of any adjustment, we got to just adjust. It's on the fly. You got to know what you're doing at every time. So it's pretty much like the offense is fast tempo, fast thinking. So you just got to be there to know what you're doing.
When you decided to play for Coach Prime, was the top of your mind to try to do what he did in the NFL?
Yeah, that's definitely the top of my mind. I mean, you see, I'm still trying to do it, man. I'm trying to be the best two-way player.
And in being a two-way player, you already have folks that are doubting your ability, even at this level, even with the accolades that you got as a high school player. How do you deal with what other folks have to say about you and the program?
I mean, I don't even worry about what everybody else got to say. They're not inside. They're not doing what I'm doing. They're not putting their body through what I'm putting my body through. They're not working as hard as I am. So I pretty much just let them talk. They ain't doing nothing but making me go at it 10 times harder.
You and Coach Prime love to have a fishing rod in your hand. I got to ask, when y'all go fishing, who be catching the most fish?
I'll catch the most fish all the time, every time.
Not one time has he ever beat you fishing?
Nah, not one time. I mean, we only fished against each other 2 times. We're going to try to get some more in, but right now we locked in football already.
That's what's up. Colorado wide receiver and defensive back, Travis Hunter, thank you so much for joining us here on the #1 College Football Show.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the #1 College Football Show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.